In Kissinger, Walter Isaacson offers a comprehensive and nuanced exploration of one of modern history's most influential and controversial statesmen, Henry Kissinger. Have you ever wondered what truly drives a figure responsible for shaping global politics, a man lauded for his brilliance, yet often reviled for his methods? Understanding Kissinger through a simplistic lens, either as a savior or a villain, deprives you of a deeper appreciation for the complex forces that shaped his actions and, in turn, the world we live in. This biography promises to unravel the intricacies of Kissinger's personality, his intellectual framework, and his profound impact on American foreign policy, revealing how his early life as a refugee from Nazi Germany forged a deep-seated desire for order and a pragmatic, often unsentimental approach to international relations. By journeying through his life, from his formative years to his rise as a global power broker, you'll gain a richer understanding of the man, his era, and the enduring legacy of his realpolitik. The first key insight from Isaacson's Kissinger is that Kissinger's worldview and diplomatic style were profoundly shaped by his early experiences as a Jewish refugee fleeing Nazi Germany. Growing up amidst persecution and societal collapse in Firth, and later finding a new, more tolerant world in Washington Heights, instilled in him a deep-seated insecurity, a yearning for acceptance, and an overriding belief in the necessity of order. You might see this as the bedrock of his later political philosophy. This background led him to develop a realist or realpolitik approach to foreign policy, where the balance of power and national interest often superseded idealistic or moralistic considerations. His father's gentleness, perceived as weakness in the face of Nazi brutality, pushed Kissinger towards forceful patrons and a desire to project strength, both personally and in statecraft. This formative period explains much of his later emphasis on stability, his suspicion of revolutionary movements, and his sometimes cynical view of human nature, believing that statesmen must constantly battle against international instability. Next, consider how Kissinger's intellectual journey at Harvard further solidified his realist philosophy. Isaacson details Kissinger's immersion in the study of historical figures like Metternich and Bismarck, statesmen who masterfully manipulated complex power dynamics. His doctoral dissertation, A World Restored, focused on how conservative statesmen created a stable European order after the Napoleonic Wars. This academic grounding reinforced his belief that diplomacy, to be effective, must be unsentimental and rooted in an understanding of power realities. For you, this highlights that Kissinger's policies were not accidental, but were built on a deeply considered, if controversial, intellectual framework. He saw the world as an arena of contending forces where stability was paramount, a view that often put him at odds with America's more idealistic traditions. Another crucial aspect explored is the potent and often tumultuous partnership between Kissinger and Richard Nixon. Isaacson portrays them as co-conspirators, an odd couple bound by mutual suspicion, a shared desire to centralize foreign policy control within the White House, and a penchant for secrecy. You'll learn how Nixon's insecurities and desire to bypass the traditional State Department bureaucracy created the perfect environment for Kissinger's ambitions and his preferred style of covert, back-channel diplomacy. Their relationship, while producing historic breakthroughs, was also characterized by palace intrigue, rivalry, and a paranoia that would contribute to some of the administration's darkest chapters, such as the extensive wiretapping of aides and journalists in the name of national security. Building on this, Isaacson illuminates Kissinger's role as the architect of transformative foreign policy initiatives, most notably détente with the Soviet Union and the historic opening to China. These moves fundamentally reshaped the global balance of power, moving from a bipolar Cold War confrontation to a more complex triangular relationship, where the United States could leverage its position between the two communist giants. You'll understand that this was not merely tactical maneuvering, but part of Kissinger's grand strategy to create a more stable, if less ideologically pure, world order. The SALT agreements with Moscow, for example, aimed to manage the nuclear arms race, while the engagement with Beijing isolated North Vietnam and provided new diplomatic leverage. Kissinger's involvement in the Vietnam War is a central and perhaps the most contentious part of his legacy, which Isaacson examines in depth. From secret negotiations with Le Duc Tho to the controversial Christmas bombing of Hanoi, Kissinger was at the heart of America's tortuous efforts to extricate itself from the conflict while preserving what he termed peace with honor. You'll see how his belief in maintaining American credibility on the world stage drove many of his decisions, even when they led to prolonged fighting and immense human cost. The book dissects the peace is at hand moment and the subsequent breakdown of talks, revealing the immense pressures and complexities Kissinger faced in trying to navigate an end to an unwinnable war. The main takeaway of this book is that Henry Kissinger was a colossus of 20th century diplomacy, a figure whose immense intellect and refugee-born drive for order led him to architect a generation of American foreign policy based on pragmatic realism. Isaacson masterfully shows how Kissinger's pursuit of a stable global balance, marked by groundbreaking achievements like the opening to China and détente with the Soviet Union, was often intertwined with a controversial, secretive operational style that strained democratic norms and left an enduringly complex legacy. You should gain a profound understanding of how personality, history, and philosophy can converge to shape the destinies of nations. All right, that's a wrap on today's summary. Thanks for listening. If this book summary sparked your curiosity or gave you new insights, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss our next summary. Keep reading, keep growing, and see you in the next one.